Okay, so yeah, we will be recording the session, and so just to make you aware of that, if you would rather be off camera, do feel free to leave your cameras off, that's absolutely fine. And then we'll share the link afterwards with anyone that's was unable to attend. Please also keep your mics on mute, but we will be monitoring the chat, so if you've got any questions, feel free to pop them in there, and we'll answer any questions that you have. And yeah, lastly, just to say, please do contribute. So these sessions are for you, and we want them to be really useful. So please do chip in with any ideas and thoughts. We want it to be quite a sort of informal and useful conversation. So that's a little bit of an overview of housekeeping. So the slides move on. So we're going to do now a bit of a sort of context about the personal statements in 2020. So I'm not going to speak for too long because we do have Sophie, who's going to go into much more detail about the personal statement itself. So first of all then, just to say that we'll talk a bit about contextual admissions, the importance of the UCAS tick boxes this year more than ever. We'll also be thinking about the lack of in-person work experience opportunities, which I know has been a real issue for lots of schools, lots of teachers. And then we'll have a few resources for you to take away and share with your students as well. So just a note on contextual admissions. So it's a real hot topic, and there have been so many conversations about the importance of contextual admissions this year. Two universities that I know of, but I think this is probably something that might follow by other HEIs. They are talking about reducing entry requirements for students this year to acknowledge the impact that COVID-19 has had on students. So the University of Birmingham and Sussex are just two universities to name a couple. So they have acknowledged that this year has had a real impact on students, and that's one way that universities are addressing that. We know as well that universities will be taking into account and considering personal statements and thinking about the contextual recruitment. So there is some advice on the UCAS website about including reference to COVID-19 within personal statements. And obviously for personal statements, students don't have many characters to use, so it's important that everything is of high quality and they're not using sentences up on things they don't need to. So the UCAS website advises that it's fine to reference COVID and the impact that it may have had on that student. But what they recommend doing is that the school website should make a reference to how much online learning has taken place, and that link being included within the personal statement. So that's quite a nice and concise way of those students being able to reference exactly what support they've had this year, but in a really succinct way, so they're not using up characters on that in particular. So that's just a little note about contextual admissions. As referenced before, it's really important, and this is more of a reminder, that students are ticking boxes about contextual admissions. So if they're care experienced or if they have a disability, I think there's been lots of work done to sort of reassure students that they're not going to be penalised or stigmatised by ticking those UCAS tick boxes, and that it is just there to make sure that they get the support as early on as possible. So please do encourage your students to tick those boxes where there are contextual admissions around those protected characteristics. So we've heard lots from schools, just trying to move my slide on. We've heard lots from schools and teachers that the lack of work experience is a real concern, and developing those soft skills and yeah, experiences with the workplace that just haven't been able to happen this year. But we wanted to just draw your attention to a few different resources, and there are lots out there, but these are just a few, just to demonstrate that there are work experience opportunities out there that students can get involved in. SpringPod is a lovely user-friendly website which lists sort of the latest online work experience opportunities. So they currently have opportunities from Nestle, marketing opportunities and NHS related experiences. So that's a great thing for students to have a look at and get involved with, and then they can obviously reference this within their personal statement. Barclays have a fantastic website and a fantastic online resource which literally walks the young person through a workplace, and it's very clever, it's really interactive, so they can sort of ask questions and pause and ask if they want to find out more from the particular worker that they're talking to, and learn about lots of different facets of the workplace and different roles and responsibilities. So that's quite a nice one to do, and it's literally a sort of very visual experience of what it's like to be in the workplace. Obviously with NHS and medicine and those sorts of courses and careers, the work experience element is essential for personal statements, and there are lots of online opportunities. So the Aspiring Medics is a nice website where you can see the latest opportunities in terms of work experience around medicine as well. So those are just a few things that we thought we'd share, and we'll obviously share these with you afterwards as well on an email, so you've got these and you can forward them on to your students. I think it's important to acknowledge as well, with not being able to do things in person, obviously admissions teams will be very, very aware of that. And students can also reference things like podcasts or TED Talks or online lectures that they might have attended, which demonstrate that passion for their subject. So the UCAS website has lots of different online lectures and opportunities from universities. So do signpost that to your students as well. And that's absolutely something that they can reference within their personal statement as well. Okay, and so like I said, I'm not going to talk for very long, but just to share some resources that you can forward on to your students as well. So UCAS have a lovely tool that students can use online, which helps them practice writing their personal statements. And at the end of when they've done that, they can save it as a PDF, so they can see exactly what it will look like when they submit their personal statement, which is quite a useful way to visualize it for those students. At AccessHE, we also have a couple of resources that we can share. So we have our online Year 12 and Year 13 series, which covers lots of different elements of higher education, but there is a personal statement workshop on there, as well as things like whether to study at home or away, financial advice, all that sort of stuff. So we'll share that as well. So yeah, those are just a few resources that we would like to share with you, and we'll follow up today on email. So that's it from me. So as mentioned, Sophie and Natalie, sorry, are going to go into more detail about the personal statement itself. So I'm going to hand over to Sophie and Natalie, and hopefully we've set it up that Sophie, you can share your screen and present your slides.
Great, thank you very much. So yeah, as Michelle said, I'm Sophie, and I'm joined by Natalie as well, and we both work in the Education Liaison and Outreach team at Middlesex. So we talk to schools and colleges all the time about personal statements, and obviously it is a really, really topical subject at the moment. So aside from working in Ed Liaison, Natalie and I have both worked in admissions before. So we've actually been reading personal statements. Natalie has worked at universities for a long, long time. So she's seen how personal statements have evolved. Me, not so much, but I have worked in admissions. So we are very well versed with kind of knowing what is a good personal statement or the things that should be included. So we're just going to go through some top tips really, and also some resources that we've got available, and just tell you a bit about what universities are looking for, what students should kind of put in their personal statements, how they can be prepared, and also just talk through the ways in which universities can support your students basically. Let me see if this is working. So I'll hand over to Natalie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Natalie, as Sophie just said. Start early is what we would say. They need to prepare really early. For me, when students start at school or college at the beginning of Year 12 is when they need to start thinking about what pathway they're going to take. And that is really important, that they they've got an idea or start to do the research on what subjects they want to do, to ensure that they've got all the necessary requirements for that particular course. For instance, that somebody that's coming into year 12, if they don't have if they're wanting to do nursing and they want and they don't have GCSE in science, then some universities won't accept them. So it's really important to get them really early at that stage, right at the beginning of year 12, to ensure that you can help them make the right choices, really. So to write the personal statement, they need to really know what they want to study and have done their research. So if they start at the beginning of year 12, by the end of year 12, when they want to start writing the personal statement, they should have some ideas and lots of information to be putting in that personal statement and done all the necessary things, should we say. So really check spelling and punctuation and grammar, because we've been getting personal statements at the moment that we're reading that have not been spell checked or anything. So if they're doing it in Word, there's no reason why they can't do these sorts of things. So just encourage your students to spell check and look at the punctuation, look at the grammar all of the time when they're writing the personal statement, really. They really need to look at the structure, and my colleague Soph's going to cover that in a minute. And then they need to seek support from the right people. There's lots of resources out there from all universities, so they can do a lot of this research. You just need to point them in the right direction, is what I would say.
Perfect, thank you. So, yeah, so as Natalie said, we have put together a suggested structure, and so will other universities as well. And this is what we based our workshops on and our presentations to schools, and also a workbook, which we'll talk about in a bit more detail. But it's quite simple, really. We call it like the structure of thirds. So we suggest that 2/3 should be academic, and then 1/3 should be non-academic. So school or college information, and then a bit about them. Universities want to know that students are well-rounded and that they've got experience and passion and drive for that particular subject, but they want to know that they are also interested in other things as well. So it is important that they reference themselves and any kind of hobbies or things that they're interested in, and things that they might want to carry on doing at university. So hopefully by using this structure, they should be able to start either just making bullet points or writing paragraphs at the very, very start of writing their first draft. And it's also important to remind them that they are expected to probably do 4, 5, maybe 6 drafts of a personal statement before it is 100% correct. So they need to have that understanding that they need to be patient. It's not going to be a quick piece of work for them. And actually, although they are already doing academic writing in their studies, this is their first piece of writing for a university. So they do need to take the time to make sure it's correct and that they're happy with it. So the first thing is, why do they want to study this course? And that hopefully should be the most fun part out of this, and the most easiest part, because they should be able to just put down why they're so passionate about that particular subject. And then, how has their experience at school or college prepared them for university? This, for students who have been kind of unfortunately caught up in everything going on with coronavirus, they are actually more prepared than any other cohort that has gone to university. They've had to do so much independent study and online learning, and actually they can really draw on that experience to show how that's going to, or has prepared them for their study at university, because they are expected to be working independently, and they can draw on those skills that they've gained and put that in their personal statement. And then, are they involved in any sports clubs or societies? So we ask questions around, whether they've held any positions of, were they like a captain? Did they win any medals? Things like that, that just get the universities seeing if they've kind of been in any positions, or like high positions of power, that sort of stuff. Draws on their kind of leadership roles, team working skills, communication, all of that sort of stuff. And then about them. So what experience have they done, whether it's voluntary or paid? And as Michelle said, there are lots of online work experience opportunities as well. And I'm happy to send over links to you later with some other websites that students can look to. Lots of universities are also running camps, so like online digital camps that will get students kind of, or give them that experience that they can talk about in their personal statement. And that's another way for them to kind of look at a specific area that they're interested in and see whether it's the area that they want to go in and study. And then finally, are there any other activities that they're interested in outside of school or college? So this could be anything. It is, as I said, it's good for universities to know that they are a well-rounded person and that they're interested in other things. So are they part of a amateur drama society? Are they captain of a hockey team? You know, do they enjoy reading? Do they enjoy traveling? All of that sort of stuff. And then they wrap it up in a concluding statement. And we suggest that that isn't going back over everything that we've spoken about, but it draws all of what they've been talking about together. And they can also talk about what they're interested in or what they're looking forward to doing at university. So we've got a personal statement booklet, which talks about all of those 5 sections that I just discussed. And we can also send all of this out to you. We've got a 5-minute workshop video that students can use alongside the personal statement booklet. The personal statement booklet is great. Obviously, we think it's amazing because we designed it, but it is honestly really, really helpful for students because it splits those sections up into kind of main sections for them to work through, and then we ask 4 or 5 questions for each category where we get them just to think about so under why they want to study this course, what are their passions, motivations, was there anything that kind of made them decide to do that, what experiences have drawn them into that particular area. And they can then put their answers on the next page. There's some examples, there's some do's and don'ts. If by the end of their first draft, they haven't been able to answer every section, then they maybe need to go back and kind of reevaluate what it is that they want to do and what their passions are for that particular subject. Because something like this personal statement booklet, the things that are on UCAS, AccessHE's documents, all of them are designed to get students thinking and writing. And it should be pretty easy for them after that point. We've also got a nursing and midwifery personal statement video. Obviously, for those areas, for the health professions, they are looking for students to show that they are competent in different areas, and we cover that. So I can also send that out to you as well. Nat, do you have anything you want to add on to this?
Yeah, and with nursing and midwifery, I've been reading quite a lot of them recently. A lot of them refer to television programs and things like that. That really isn't enough about research because television isn't real, most of it. So a lot of the nursing professional bodies, or the professional people, should I say, frown upon that really when they see that in a personal statement, because they want to know that the students are really prepared and know what a nurse or a midwife does. I do understand at the moment they're not able to get any work experience, but just do some research around what a nurse's role is and what a midwife's role is really, because referring to a television program isn't or what it really should be. And I did put this video together with Sophie, and along with a presentation that's got lots and lots of useful information in there about the criteria that we're looking for with nursing and midwifery.
And then finally, there are 10 top tips for students, and this does come in a PDF form, but if you talk to any university, they'll be saying exactly the same thing. You know, students need to be concise. It is a difficult thing, writing a personal statement. They only have a certain amount of characters, and they are expected to kind of talk about everything, but they do need to work hard and start early and have the patience, because they will have to do several drafts. Also, we're seeing a lot of people starting, even though I think people know that they shouldn't, we are still seeing quite a lot of quotes for kind of starting off the personal statement, and it's just really a waste of characters. Admission staff see hundreds and hundreds of the same type of personal statements coming through, starting off with the same quotes, and it really doesn't separate them from anyone else. So it is really, really important that they do their research and prepare in order to kind of make that winning personal statement. They can obviously ask for support and help. You know, there's live chats available for students to talk to other students at university to see what it means to be at that university, and that can help them when they're writing their personal statement. Obviously, they have support of you guys as their teachers and careers advisors. Universities are there to support them as well. You know, we not only do we deliver presentations, but so do other universities, and they're able to provide advice and guidance in order for your students to kind of be able to write those great personal statements. And that's it from us. I don't know if anyone's got any questions or anything.
Thank you so much. That was great, Sophie and Natalie. Thank you. And I think it's really interesting to hear, like you say, that there are more sort of spelling and grammar errors perhaps coming through this year, and thinking again about that lack of support that students are perhaps getting because they're not physically in school, or perhaps things that they've missed. So I think just stressing the importance of that kind of support for those students. Great as well to hear, Natalie, I think really useful context about nursing. And Sophie and Natalie, if you have any sort of specific work experience, online work experience around that, I know the NHS do have resources out there, but if there's anything that you could perhaps share, that would be fantastic, that we can share around afterwards. But thank you both so much. That was really interesting. Thank you. Okay, lovely. So we're going to whiz along, if that's okay. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague Beth now, who is going to talk about something very exciting and our creative campaign. So Beth, I'm going to hand over to you if that's okay.
Yes, lovely. Hello, good morning, everybody. Yeah, as Michelle says, I'm Beth. I work closely with Michelle, but also with schools across North London. But I also cover the creative portfolio for the Uni Connect strand of work, which is really fun. And myself and my colleague Geraldine have been working on something for a few months that we're really excited to share with you today. So I am going to share my screen. I'm really bad at doing that. Great. Right, so yeah, I'm pleased to share with you AccessHE Creative. We've got some flashy infographics here, but that's just because it's going to be a really cool thing. So we wanted to give it a very cool beginning. So what is that? Well, basically it's a new set of online interactive courses that we've designed specifically for learners in London. And we've done this with the help of our higher education membership. So this is really an up-to-date set of online courses discussing everything to do with creativity, creative higher education, and creative careers. Why is this needed? So I'm going to take you through the context and rationale before Geraldine is going to take you through a bit more of the detail on actually the nitty-gritty of the courses. So the creative industries are absolutely booming in London, as they are across the UK. In London, they contribute to £52 billion to the London economy, which is actually a third of the economy in London overall. It's the fastest growing sector for jobs in nearly every London borough. And the future is creative, as we all know, and we keep discussing that the skills we're going to be needed when we're taken over by robots are creative ones. Creative minds will need to be relevant and stronger than ever when we have more automated technology and ways of doing things. So there is, an economic need for it as well. But not only that, I think there's also a personal need for it too. In terms of our well-being, our development, confidence as human beings, I think the power of creativity cannot be overstated, really. However, AccessHE has produced a report in 2016 called The More Colours You Add, the nicer the picture. And that was really focusing on underrepresented groups, particularly people from BAME backgrounds and low socioeconomic backgrounds. It really revealed that access to the arts is not equal. So in this report, we found that just 23.4% of the creative economy was filled by people from BAME backgrounds in London. So even though it contributes so much to London's economy, and even though the demographics of London clearly show that there should be more equitable divides between people from different backgrounds, there wasn't. So then it tried to discuss what are the actual barriers then. So we did a number of case studies and sort of field research, and found that arts higher education is seen as white. There's a lack of cultural representation in it. But there also was a perception, particularly in BAME and low socioeconomic communities, that arts have poor career prospects. But there's also, we found, financial barriers to low socioeconomic backgrounds, such as the price of a theatre ticket, or to be able to access an after-school club that might have to be paid for, is not an option. But also coupling this with creativity being sort of squeezed out of the curriculum in schools in recent years. And this is really, due to funding issues, but also we now have the exacerbated by COVID-19 and the recovery curriculum. I've spoken to several schools who've already written off poetry in their English literature syllabus, for example, or cut down chimes for drama and the arts. So there really is a need at the moment, both building on this report from 2016, but also in the present circumstances, to be perceiving the creative arts in a new light, in a way that presents a viable career and exciting further education with a lot of opportunity. So also with schools being online and this element of blended learning, we needed to really suit that. So Geraldine and I have designed a set of courses, and I'll hand over to her now for the details of it.
Thanks, Beth. So as Beth said, we decided to create a set of courses in collaboration with our member university organisations, as you can see on the screen there, such as Erdang, Trinity Laban, Rhodes, Bruford, Ravensbourne, South Essex College as well, getting that further education, HE and FE perspective as well. Additionally, some community organisations who work in the creative arts, such as Arts Emergency and Purple Moon Drama. We wanted to build upon the physical creative apply guide, which exists already, but create a one-stop shop for creative HE, which was more interactive and accessible, and therefore taking a wider approach to the thoughts students may have before and after applying to university. Targeting year 11s and year 13s, these being students already studying a creative subject for GCSE, A-level or BTEC, for example. The website is split into popular offerings by our member organisations, such as art and design, media and film, performing arts and music. Within this, of course, there are other degree options and offerings available described, such as fashion, animation and dance. And students are able to explore these subjects and the pathway to studying them through higher education, through short modules of videos, reading resources and quizzes, which will enable them to test and develop their knowledge and, most importantly, their confidence. We can move on to the next slide, Beth. And so how can this be useful to you? First and foremost, it's free. That's always a great thing. All students have to do is register online, and the website is solely for educational use only. They're not able to interact with anyone else, and therefore this adheres to AccessHE's safeguarding online and also our privacy policy. But if you have any questions about that, please do come to us and we can give you that information. Secondly, of course, this enables you to support meeting your Gatsby benchmarks, in particular Gatsby benchmark 7, where you can have encounters with further education and higher education, but also addressing the needs of individual students, specifically those who are underrepresented in the creative pathways. Which then leads me to, of course, diversity and representation. The engaging content from the FE and HE providers are from lecturers, industry experts, alumni, and of course, current first-hand student experiences. therefore providing a genuine perspective from these underrepresented groups. And these perspectives, of course, enable your students to support with their UCAS applications to higher education. If you have a look at the modules which are there on the screen, they can be used standalone or as a complete series which students work through. Therefore, they can cover specific knowledge around the subject and what it's like to study this, but also specific course content or application knowledge. Within this group as well, we note that personal statements, although this is a personal statement, virtual coffee morning this morning, it's quite important to note that all the providers said the same thing, that personal statements aren't as important for a creative degree application. And so there's a really strong focus in this to provide something different for these students around portfolio building and audition guidance. And then also career pathways. And then finally, as Beth mentioned before, this can be used as a blended learning opportunity, not just for students to explore by themselves online, but also for homework, but also as a learning project or within the classroom if they're not able to access IT material at home by themselves. The videos themselves can be embedded by the teacher in the curriculum and within the sessions. An example of this is that we've been lucky enough to work with the Big Creative Education College in North London, who are blending this into their curriculum with their students to enrich their careers offer. And so with that in mind, we would advise teachers to log in themselves and see if the material that is provided there is useful within their own sessions, let alone within this platform that we've created. And last slide there, because I know we're trying to keep on time. I don't want to upset Michelle's agenda here. With that said, please do contact us if you have any questions about the website, how to embed it in your curriculum, or anything else for that matter. We'd love to get some feedback and also how we can involve more schools and colleges within this. And I'm sure our member universities would also be grateful for that. Finally, I'm sure Beth would like to say, and myself as well, although we've been working on this for months, that the website is due to launch in a couple of weeks. And as a follow-up from this, we will send to you a document which explains the use of the website and the link to this PowerPoint presentation as well. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jerry and Beth. It looks amazing. Yeah, really fantastic. So we'll obviously share all the details of that and the website when it's launched in a couple of weeks. But as Joe said, please do send through any feedback or any questions. But yeah, thank you very, very much. So next we're going to hear from Natasha Khan from the Creative Mentor Network. So segueing nicely from one creative element to another one. So we'll hand over to Natasha now.
Amazing, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, I was going to say exactly that, a perfect segue into kind of what we do here at Creative Mentor Network and our offering. So I'm Natasha, I'm the Programme Manager at Creative Mentor Network. I've actually just, I was in the classroom for about 4 years and I've just left teaching at the beginning of this year. So I've made this this presentation deck hopefully to be as kind of friendly, user-friendly for a form tutor for a head of year. So if at the end of this is something that you are interested in, please do let me know. I'm really happy to send you over the link to this presentation so that you can roll it out to your students at your school. So essentially at Creative Mentor Network, we are a London-based charity, and what we're trying to do is to make the creative industries more inclusive. We are, essentially trying to do that via mentoring. And we want to build a society where every young person can achieve their potential in the creative world of work, irrespective of their start of life. So we started in 2014. Our CEO, Isabel, was also a former teacher herself. And essentially, we've just seen the kind of lack of options available to young people who are trying to access the creative industries when they're at school. What we do is, our program is that we train creative industry professionals. So that can range from anyone working in advertising, marketing, working in tech, working in journalism. Mentors will sign up to us and they will take part in a training program to essentially make them great mentors. We then part them up with a young person, so a young person aged between 16 to 25, and that young person will have a dedicated mentor for those 16 weeks. And it's to allow them to kind of ask all of those questions that they've always wanted to know about the creative industry. It's to allow them to kind of understand what the creative industry is, how they can access it, what job roles exist, how they can, become exceptional creative young people. And they will have their one-to-one meetings over the 16 weeks to kind of develop and work on whatever skills they would like to work on with their mentor. The mentors, as I said, really vary from creative directors, filmmakers, graphic designers, account managers, and many, many more. Quite often, the mentors have titles that our young people that we partner up with don't actually know exist, and that's all part of the learning, so that young people can understand what options exist in terms of job roles and job careers then once they've left school and once they've left university. Who can be a mentee with us? So our focus is to help young people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. And because of that, we have an eligibility criteria to ensure that we are kind of targeting young people that we feel need help the most. So our mentees need to meet 3 out of our 4 eligibility criteria. So mentees must be between age 16 to 25. So we welcome those in year 11 all the way through to those who are university graduates or postgrads, and they need to have attended a state school. The mentee needs to have been eligible for free school meals when they were age 14, or if they were not eligible for free school meals, their parents need to fall, their primary household earner when they're 14 needs to fall within one of these occupation brackets. So essentially, we're trying to target young people who are pupil premium, or their parents do not come from a kind of managerial or university educated role, as that's kind of deemed within our criteria of being from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. So for example, a typical mentee for us could be age 22, they went to a state school, and when they were 14, their primary earner was a staff assistant, and they would be able to qualify to be part of our program. What will a mentee do with their mentor? So it really, really varies. And I think what's a nice link into what we were discussing earlier in terms of personal statements is that having a mentor and being on this program is an incredible thing to write on a personal statement. It's 16 weeks of dedication, of commitment that they can talk about, where they said that they've really tried to kind of understand and figure out what it is in particular to the course that they are studying. In their mentor meetings, they could, if they wanted to, work on a personal statement with their mentor if they knew that they were applying for a creative subject at university. This could be something that they do. They can work on those employability skills such as confidence, presentation, networking. So, you know, those things such as interview skills, if they were going to be having an interview for their university course, it's something they could work on with their mentor. They could practice that with their mentor. Their mentor could introduce them to colleagues and you know, people within their company, and they can continue those kind of networking skills to make them really holistic, well-rounded young people that are going to apply for university. But also if your mentee doesn't want to go to university and they're just really curious about what the other options for them are, so they can research apprenticeships with their mentors, they can research paid internships, they can gain work experience with their mentors to kind of help them decide what their pathway is going to be. University isn't for everyone, and I think that's especially with the creative industries, there isn't such a kind of traditional trajectory of, you know, getting your A-levels, going to university, and then getting a job. And having a mentor who potentially didn't take such a traditional pathway can kind of help our young people see what options are available to them. But essentially, you know, the young people that we work with will set their own goals with their mentor. They will decide exactly what it is they want to achieve after their first 2 sessions, and they would have those check-in points with their mentor over the 16 weeks so that they ensure that they do actually achieve them. Big question at the moment is how is it all working with social distancing and with lockdown? So we have transitioned our mentoring programs. They are all run entirely online. So that includes the induction sessions that a mentee will have if they gain a place in the program. And that also includes their one-to-one meetings with their mentors. As and when lockdown lifts, mentors and mentees are able to meet up in person, and we really do encourage them to do so. So they're able to kind of have the experience of being in a professional office environment, but also they get invited on sets, they get invited on location, on shoots. So again, these really kind of great extracurricular activities that young people can write in their personal statements when kind of applying to university. As our programs are open for those aged 16 to 25, if mentees are under the age of 18, we just need to double check with parental consent, but essentially if they feel comfortable to do so, once lockdown ends, they are able to meet up with their mentor at their office or in that kind of professional working space. Who can be a mentee? So it can be anyone aged from 16 to 25. All that we ask of the mentees is they meet with their mentor at a minimum once every 2 weeks for an hour. So as long as you know, your students, your pupils are able to commit to that, we would really encourage them to do this alongside their A-levels, alongside their university studies. And we actually find that it can be really complementary because they can have that kind of professional mentor there to give them guidance and give them tips on how to be great at organisation, how to be great at kind of, you know, figuring out what it is that they really want to do. So we encourage anyone to be a mentee, just as long as they have an interest in the creative industries and can commit to that time frame. Mentees can apply by our general application, which I will post a link into the chat shortly after this. But our application is open all year round. Mentees will apply as and when we have a new mentoring program going live. We will review the applications. If we feel that we have a mentor that's well suited to one of our young people in terms of their career match and skills that they want to develop, we will make that match. They will be contacted, and as I said, they have a kind of onboarding session. Then they'll be introduced to their mentor online, and they will have 16 weeks of one-to-one mentoring with them. And then if you are interested, please do send me an email. It's natasha@creativementornetwork.org. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. We've also been running virtual assemblies at schools, so doing online kind of assemblies for sixth forms to kind of give a more targeted outreach to young people who are kind of interested in the creative industries and would like to know a little bit more. I realise I've gone through that extremely quickly, so it might be helpful if anyone has any questions, you can kind of just either unmute yourself or post them in the chat, and I would be really happy to answer them for you.
Thank you so much, Natasha. That was yeah,
No problem.
fantastic and very, very concise. So thank you very much.
Trying to keep to my time limit.
It was great to hear. Yeah, it's great to hear sort of the employability support that they get, and I think, you know, the creative industries, it can feel like such an abstract thing when you're at school. So it sounds fantastic, and please do share your contact details and things in the chat, and details on how people can sign up. But it sounds absolutely fabulous. Are there any questions for Natasha at all? Just, there is one comment, Natasha, that one of Hilary Tate's students has already applied, which is always fantastic to hear. So great stuff.
That's great.
Lovely stuff. All right, thank you so much, Natasha. So we're going to move on to our next speaker now, who is Alice from RVC. So Alice, hopefully you'll be able to share your screen, and we look forward to hearing from RVC next.
Thanks very much, Michelle. So I haven't actually prepared any slides, but I thought I might show you what one of our online programs looks like, if that's okay. I will just try and share my screen. Am I allowed to take the screen? Is that all right? Okay, so hopefully everybody can see our lovely Animal Academy. So I just thought I'd let you know about some of the opportunities we have for young people at the moment. And the one that you can see in front of you now is our Animal Academy. So this is an online program that we launched in the summer, sort of in response to the pandemic and our need to be able to still reach young people even when they were at home, as we are sadly at the moment still unable to bring them onto campus and let them take part in our in-person programs. So the Animal Academy is completely free, and it is a program designed to support young people from underrepresented backgrounds to reach their goals of studying and working with animals. So anybody that applies and is accepted onto the program has access to exclusive support, advice, monthly events about animal careers, going to university, and the opportunity to learn from our RVC experts. So as you can see on the website, there's lots of different areas for the young people to click on and explore. And the content includes things like introductions to each of our courses from the students themselves, videos on days in the life of a vet or a vet nurse or wildlife biologist. There's lots of information about work experience and how to secure work experience, which is really, really important for many of our degrees. I've just seen a question pop up, which is what is the age range? So sorry, I should have mentioned. So the age range is 13 to sort of 19, really. So it's from 13, and then anybody that would still be interested in going to university to study an animal science degree. So we don't have many members over the age of 19. The other criteria to get into the Animal Academy is that young people have to attend a state school in the UK, and they need to be from a widening participation background. So That could be that they're the first in their family to go to university, perhaps they are eligible for free school meals, or live in an area with low progression rates to higher education. So as long as they tick a couple of those boxes on their short application form, they'll be given membership to the Animal Academy. So yeah, just going back, some of the other things we have on there, there's taster lectures and lots of information about applying to veterinary degrees, applying to the RVC, and what to expect from that application process, which is perhaps a little more complicated than most degrees, quite similar to dentistry or medicine, in that they have multiple mini interviews and a slightly different application deadline. They also, as I mentioned, get monthly events as part of their membership. So once a month, we pick a different topic that we think is relevant at that time. And we invite all the young people along to hear from somebody talking about that topic and ask any questions that they might have. So, for example, in September, we did one on a dissection. So we sent out a dissection video of a white tiger to all the young people, which, as you can imagine, was quite an interesting thing to see. And then we invited our lecturer along to answer questions about the dissection. And some of our student ambassadors were there to answer questions about what it's like to be a student at the RVC and their involvement in dissections now they're studying there. And this month we had an event focused on veterinary nursing. So that was actually just 2 days ago, and we had 50 young people actually signed on to that one. So really, really good attendance rates. So yeah, as I mentioned, any young people 13 or above interested in applying, just go onto our website, fill out a very short application form, completely free, and they normally find out within 48 hours whether they've been admitted to the academy. So the other opportunities worth mentioning at the moment are our summer schools. So we run summer schools for year 10, year 11 and year 12. This year, of course, we had to run them all online. We are very, very much hoping that next year we might be able to do a blended version. So majority of the summer school online, but we really, really would like to bring all young people to the RVC, even if it's just for one day, so they can get a real taste of university life, get to meet some of their peers, some of our student ambassadors, and make the most of our amazing facilities. As you know, veterinary degrees are so practical. It's really nice if the young people get the chance to come and see our farm, our animal hospital, see some of the animals and really get that hands-on experience. So the summer school applications for year 10 and 11 are now open, and for year 12 opens on the 11th of January. Unfortunately, independent schools are exempt. However, we do run another summer school that young people from independent schools can apply to. That will also open likely the end of January. So if you go onto our website, all the information about the different summer schools is on there and who can apply. So for the ones that I'm talking about, it's the same criteria as the Animal Academy. So the young people need to be from a wide background. So first in family, free school meals, those kinds of things. And the final thing I wanted to mention is our new schools program that we've just launched this last week. So all of those opportunities are for individual young people interested in animal science, whereas this is something we can provide to a school group. Ordinarily, we bring schools onto campus. As I mentioned, unfortunately, we can't do that at the moment. So this is an alternative we are providing in this very strange and interesting period for everybody. So it's called Discover Careers with Animals, and it's a session that we've designed for you to be able to deliver to your pupils, with the option to include a live video Q&A with the RVC staff and student ambassadors. So it's a session designed to introduce your pupils to careers in animal science, the RVC and the courses that we offer, and give them a taste of university-style learning through a taster lecture on veterinary emergencies. So we provide all of those resources, links to the videos to use. And then, as I mentioned, at the end of the session, if you would like, we can come and do a Q&A with your young people too. So yeah, any questions, please let me know, or if you want to contact me after, it's outreach@rvc.ac.uk. Thanks very much.
Great stuff. Thank you, Alice. Thank you. And it's so nice to see such a range of support through the through that, and obviously applying for veterinary science and all the associated courses is quite specific. So it's, yeah, a great resource for those students. So thank you very much. And we'll obviously share all the links and things that you've mentioned, Alice, as well. So thank you very much. So we now come to our final speaker, who been very patiently waiting. So thank you very much, Javine. So we're now going to hear from Javine from the University of East London to share their latest outreach opportunities. Just unmute, Javine.
Yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting this, sorry. But I'm just saying I'm trying to share my screen. Bear with me because I'm not the most techno person on this.
No worries.
So bear with me, and I think we're
perfect.
Can it's not change. Oh, it's not. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I think there's a slight delay, isn't there, with these changes?
That's okay, we can see that.
Let me do a slideshow, and hopefully that should. Right from the beginning. Okay, yeah. Right. Can everybody see that? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. My name is Jervine Young, and I am one of the lead partnership officers in the post-16 team at the University of East London. And this is a mouthful. We're from the Outreach and Access Schools and Colleges team. This presentation, the objective of this presentation is just to give you a little bit about UEL, also who is the Outreach and Access team, and then what the schools and colleges teams, who we are, what we do, and some of our current activities that we have at the moment. So about UEL, we've established in 1898. So yes, we've got long history in higher education. We now, and have done for some time, we have 3 campuses, 1 in Docklands and 2 in Stratford, of which if you look at the middle and the third photos, the middle one is our first campus when we started out in 1898, it's still there. And the last one is our newest campus, which is, if anybody is familiar with Stratford, we're obviously near Westfield, and we're at the top end to where Stratford Theatre Royal is. We have students from very diverse background and from over 120 different countries. So I should think all students should feel at home when they come to UEL, or most should anyway. Our learning is rather interactive rather than passive. With the COVID, we're offering dual delivery, and we're also a careers-led university. So, Outreach and Access. Outreach and Access team sits in the External Relations Directorate, and it comprises of 3 teams: schools and colleges, which I've mentioned, information and guidance, and pre-entry and programs. I'm going to talk about what schools and colleges does, but just to really say, just to give a snippet of the other 2 teams, information and guidance provide pre-entry information, so anyone can come in and ask for guidance around what, you know, their career, what they'd like to do, and so on, and we provide that information to them. We also provide pre-entry programs to help students, particularly mature students who want to return, or return to education and return to higher education, go on to higher education. So yes, we provide the necessary courses support to help them to think about what they want to do. With regards to the schools and college team, I hope I'm not going too fast. I recognize we're running out of time, so please indicate. With regards to the team, we've got 5 lead partnership officers, a project coordinator, and 2 partnership managers. And for that, with that number of staff, we support years 10 to 13. We do raising awareness. That could include that includes obviously HE fairs. We also attend parents' evening as well. As part of that awareness, we do assembly. We get our student ambassadors. We run a student ambassador scheme, and we get our student ambassadors to, well, our curriculum ambassadors actually, to go and give information and talk about their own personal experience about student life, about courses, choosing courses, and part with the COVID right now, which I'll give you some more information later. We do our webinars online, live webinars, and get students to sign up. And within those live webinars, we have that student ambassador there to provide that, almost like when, you know, we do the face-to-face. So we try to incorporate where we can student ambassadors, curriculum ambassadors, to make the presentation or any work that we're doing with students almost as authentic in terms of the face-to-face. Another thing around building skills and knowledge. So we do sort of like doing academic writing is one. We work with the schools or colleges to do curriculum areas of work that they wouldn't normally be able to provide. So for instance, like sports, there is a particular area of the program, of the curriculum, that they don't have the equipment that we have at the university. So we get them to, we work with them and bring them on campus. At this moment, we're looking to see how we can work with them online to continue to provide that. We also work with the schools in terms of attainment, getting students to think about what they want to do for the future, and in that way working towards that so they maintain, stay within the school. And then we also do programs around, courses around, activities around transition and retention. Retention is quite new for us this year. And we're working, actually, we've started out working with students who have attended any of our activities before coming to UEL, and we want to continue work, having that close relation to support them through the university and help them to ensure that they achieve their goals. And in addition, we also working with our partnerships with our feeder providers. So again, we're getting to do just, rather than do one-off activities, we're putting like a program together that meets the needs of the student, and therefore we can work with them. So we probably do 4 or 5 activities with them over a period. It varies. Again, because we're working with our partners, it's about their needs. And so it can be spread over a few weeks, or it can be spread over a few months. Just to let you know, these are some of our activities that are coming up at the moment. So next Monday, we have your future degree taster day in psychology, followed by that's Educam, that's the education side. Then we've also done open sessions, as I said. We're doing webinars on all different topic areas, of which the next one is around how to navigate the UCAS process. Again, sometimes students don't think there's, don't meet the deadlines. And then, so what we're doing, we recognize that, and it's just letting them know that they still can and giving them that information. We also, because of COVID, we've recognized that students who probably would have come to university this year is probably redoing some of their subject areas so that they can get a better grade. So we're also doing a session around how to make the most of your gap year. So again, so that when they come in, they can see what they need to do. And we also do personal statements like everybody else that has been mentioned. We helped, we provide that, and we do the webinars on that. And then we offer our pre-16, post-16 activities for our pre-16. We have webinars again. So as you can see, letting them think about what can they study at uni, discover their passion again, getting them to relate to not just seeing things as out there, but what is it about them that they then move on to doing. And this is also a new area of work that we're looking at, which is school. It's a skill up project for year 10 and 11. We're still in the process of working on that, but we hope that again, by starting early, because we all know the earlier we get our students thinking about university or thinking about what they want to do, of which university is an option, then the better that will be. And we also, at the bottom, you can see we also have an outreach and access resource page on our website. And that's us. I hope I've done it within the time limit. And
thank you so much, Shaveen. Thank you. That was, yeah, you did a really good job. It's my fault we've overrun slightly, so thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions for Shaveen at all about anything that she's spoken about?
While you're thinking, just to quickly say that all the links that I have here, I'll pass over to Michelle, and then Michelle can send it out to you. Sorry, I'm not adept at putting things in the chat.
Great. Yeah, that's great, because there's so much in there, and I think it's really nice to see that pre and post 16 support, and yeah, like you say, all the stuff around personal statements. I think it's really interesting and will be so useful for those students that have taken a gap year and how to reference those experiences from this year. That's something I haven't heard of before, so I think that will be really useful to students. So thank you so much, Shaveen. Okay, we will wrap it up there, but thank you so much to everyone that's come along today, and to all of our speakers. You will be expecting a rather bumper email from me after this, because we do have lots of things to share with you, which is great to see. But thanks everyone for attending, and have a very good rest of the day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Bye.